Hello, good morning, how you doing? It's Phil Thatch, and today I'm here at the Saint Augustine Alligator Farm, which is a great place to do bird photography. Heather and I are here this morning, and we're not here for the alligators, we're here for the birds. There should be all sorts of wading birds here. There's a wading bird rookery here. It's a great place for them to breed because there are no natural predators. There's no raccoons and things that are going to be around because this place is full of alligators. So we are hoping to get a lot of shots. Come with us. We're here a little early, so we're having to wait 5 or 10 minutes outside the door. But we already found something that's kind of cool. Right over here is a crocodile head that was used in the movie Peter Pan in 2003. We were the first people in the alligator farm this morning, and we're attempting to figure out how to walk back to the rookery. Well, we found it. Here's the rookery. I'm seeing little blue heron, all sorts of stuff. Here's a tricolored right here, just inches from me, well, feet from me, really close. And I think I saw some spoonbills, but now I'm not finding them. But we got to get started shooting while the light is good and while we're the only people here. Well, we've been back here at the rookery for about 5 or maybe 10 minutes. What do you think about it, Heather?
It's the most amazing place on earth.
It's pretty something else. There's a tricolored nest. I don't know if you can see, but there's a tricolored right there. My hand is 2 feet from it, and there's nestlings there. It's crazy, crazy. Real hard to get a picture of that one. Heather found another nest that she's probably gotten some great pictures of. I haven't yet. She's got some pictures of it right here. Wow, look at that display. That's why the display, the other adult is coming. But there they are with their babies, just right there. I'll start with a 30-second clip of the tricolored heron on the nest with the very young nestlings. Look at his little wings. Here's an immature tricolored heron, the one that we saw on the post when we first arrived, and there were 3 more that were younger than that one. Still had their fluffy feathers on their head, and they were hanging around, and I made a video clip of them as well. I just thought it was amazing to see these 3 young birds all together at the same time, just hanging around. This is back to the one that was on the post. It's got an insect on its neck, and here is a younger than that one, still on the nest, tricolored heron. Next up, I'm not sure if this is a little blue or if this is a snowy egret, immature. And same here, I think this one is probably a little blue, and the first one I showed you was a snowy immature, but I'm not sure. Here's another one that I can't tell the difference between those two, probably a little blue. But this one is definitely a tricolored heron in the beautiful tree, also a juvenile. This one's probably a snowy, but it might be a little blue, I'm not really sure. And this one is probably a little blue heron, but it might be a snowy. It's difficult to tell. This is an adult tricolored heron. They look a lot different than the juveniles. And here is probably an immature snowy egret. Here's a juvenile tricolored heron on a branch with a beautiful background, I thought. And next up is a couple of funny pictures. It's an adult snowy egret on the left and a juvenile on the right biting its foot because it's hungry, and finally the adult turned around and fed the juvenile snowy egret. Here's a video clip I made of a young tricolored heron trying to balance on this wire. I thought it was really fun to see it trying to balance, and then it skipped across, and finally it said, you know what, I can fly over here to this post, so I think I'll do that. And then once it got to that post, I made a couple of photographs of the beautiful bird. First one where it still looks like it hasn't quite figured out its balance as it steps up onto the post. And then I got a really up close shot of this beautiful juvenile tricolored heron. This is an adult little blue heron, and all of those shots that you've seen so far have been mine. Now let's take a look at some of Heather's shots. This is the juvenile tricolored heron that was on the post when we first got there. Next up, she's got what looks to be a juvenile snowy egret. I think that's what it is. Next, we have another juvenile snowy egret, although both of those two could be juvenile little blue heron. I'm not really sure. This is definitely a juvenile tricolored heron that Heather's made a beautiful photograph of. This is another juvenile bird, either a little blue heron or a snowy egret. I love this bird. It was so charismatic there, and Heather got a shot of it, the juvenile tricolored heron. This is another juvenile tricolored heron, a little bit older than the one in that last shot. Here's an up-close shot of a great egret, I believe is what Heather has captured here. And next we have a juvenile tricolored heron on a branch. Really beautiful. I love the background in this one as well. Here's another juvenile tricolored heron. And next up, Heather's got a couple of birds on a nest. Thinking these are probably juvenile little blue heron, but they could be snowy egret. And here is a juvenile tricolored heron. And next up, it looks like Heather has a really nice shot of the adult little blue heron. It kind of had some damage around its eye. I photographed this bird as well. Here is an adult snowy egret that Heather has photographed, and her final shot in this section is a beautiful juvenile tricolored heron on a branch. We're not really here for the gators or the crocodiles, but this thing is pretty amazing right here. It's a saltwater crocodile, and it's huge. They have a cassowary area. These are Australian. And that thing is huge. Huge. This glass is real dirty and it was hard to get a picture through. I came inside for just a little while to cool off because it is oh so hot out there, and there's this amazing New Caledonia giant gecko. It's hard to get a picture of the entire animal because there's a separate piece right here in the glass, but I was able to get a really full screen sharp shot of its head with its amazing eye. This photo has the lowest shutter speed and the highest ISO of any photo in the video. This is a captive animal, but all the wading birds, the egrets and everything like that, they're all wild animals. We came back out to the rookery and we did a lot of shooting before we found a spoonbill. Actually, we found two spoonbills. One is a juvenile and one is an adult, high up in the trees, but we tried to get some shots. And now we're back to wild animals that are there at the alligator farm of their own free will. The first bird that you're seeing here is a juvenile spoonbill. Their eyes aren't very bright, but they're so cute. Here's an adult spoonbill, and their eyes are very bright. In fact, I haven't edited that eye to make it brighter. That's just the way it looked. Here is an adult snowy egret who's flown up and landed next to the juvenile spoonbill, and the spoonbill is giving it a piece of its mind, it seems like. Here's another shot of one of the juvenile spoonbills that was there. We were so thrilled to see them. We've never seen juveniles before. Here's Heather's shots. She adores the roseate spoonbill, so she made a number of shots of them. Here's an adult roseate spoonbill there on a branch that Heather made a nice shot of. And now we're back to, no, I'm mistaken. This is another adult spoonbill, giving Heather the eye. And here's another shot of the adult. I asked her if she brightened this eye up. She said, nope, that's just the way it looked with the sun shining on it. Beautiful shot here of a juvenile roseate spoonbill. And I love this next one. It's giving her a little sass as it leans her head, or it leans its head while Heather makes a shot of it. Another one of Heather's shots of the juvenile spoonbill there on a branch, and another adult. It's saying, does this plumage make my butt look big? And now we're back to a few of my shots. Here is an adult little blue heron. Really beautiful. And here are two young birds. Again, I'm not sure if these are young little blue heron or if these are young snowy egret. Here is another adult little blue heron. This one's not as beautiful as the last one. One more shot of that same bird as it was scratching its head and sticking its feathers up that I thought was really beautiful. And here is Heather's shot of that same adult little blue heron. Every once in a while I've taken a moment and worked on some in-flight shots, but not very much, and I'm still shooting at the slowest shutter speed, the slowest drive rate, so it's not really the best choice for birds in flight, but I have gotten a couple, I think. Here are a few in-flight shots. We'll start out with this beautiful adult tricolored heron. And look, it's another adult tricolored heron. I really loved this shot as it was coming into land. And here is a juvenile tricolored heron that was flying around above the walkway there at the rookery. We found a bench right here at kind of the entrance to the rookery. And the sun angle's fairly good for birds that might be in the air. And I'll show you where that is. Right down there you can see we're looking down the rookery. Here is an adult tricolored heron in flight that I caught, but unfortunately it's a little too close to the edge of the frame, but thanks to some Photoshop trickery, I was able to do some content-aware fill and get it away from the edge of the frame. Here's another adult tricolored heron in flight with a nice and beautiful background there, and another adult tricolored heron. We really enjoyed sitting on that bench because we were in shade and our subjects were nicely in sun. So they turned out really beautiful. This is a juvenile tricolored heron. This is an adult little blue heron in flight. And remember this pose because Heather caught it at the exact same time. Meanwhile, here are two shots of a snowy egret. I don't think it's the same one. They weren't taken at the same time, but two shots of two different snowy egret in flight. And now we'll look at Heather's in-flight shots. She got a shot of one of the adult tricolored heron. And here is another adult tricolored heron that she photographed. And remember that shot I got of the little blue heron in flight? I think that she captured hers at the exact same moment as mine. And this, I'm sure, is a juvenile little blue because its tips are blue on its wings. All of the egrets and heron and spoonbill are wild animals that are here at the alligator farm on their own accord, but this ruddy duck was a captive ruddy duck in a different area. Well, that's going to do it for us here at the Saint Augustine Alligator Farm. What an amazing place. Hopefully one day we'll get to come back when it's at its peak, which I think is in April, maybe March, maybe May, but definitely not July. But it was still pretty amazing bird photography opportunities here, even in July. We appreciate you watching. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content. Subscribe, hit the bell, and as always, Heather and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ooh, it's hot. Look at this restored old Toyota Land Cruiser that they have. St. Augustine Alligator Farm Zoological Park, the zoo for you. Expeditions, research, capture, dig team, transport, collections. The guy drove this in here today and then parked it here and roped it off. Pretty cool. There's also a full zip line course here, which is pretty neat. But we were here for bird photography.